Okay, 9 minutes delayed. Not bad, not bad. We got the whole crew on solving the problem, and we're here live on Deep Look, Tuesday, September 16th, just past noon Eastern time. I'm Charlie Eisenhood. Joining me is Keith Raynor. And what are you laughing about, Keith?
You threw me under the bus in the chat. I didn't see that. You blamed me for the late start.
Just saw that. Yeah, we are locked and loaded for a super show today. Club Regionals preview. We're going to break down every single region. We've got Super Sunday coming up. We've got live streaming action coming your way from the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, and the Southwest. Three of the most requested regions to have streamed. And so we'll have two cameras at the Northeast, one at both Mid-Atlantic and Southwest. And Keith's some of those marginal picks pretty challenging to make in those regions. And so I think we're going to get some really exciting games to go and games to go and the whole deal on Sunday.
The drama is in the journey, right? And it almost never goes exactly the way we plan. Yeah, there may not be quite as many surprises as we might get during college season or something like that, but there's always something, and that makes it still special. You still have to pay attention if you want to see the ending, you know?
Keith, the chat pointing out we're both wearing basketball jerseys today. What you wearing?
Oh, that not coordinated. So I'll brief story. My wife just found a bag, she said, of Ultimate jerseys, and it happened to be in it. She's like, I don't know what these old Ultimate jerseys are. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wear this on the show. This is a Lamar Odom Clippers joint. This is not your average gear.
As you can tell from the colorway, I'm wearing Knicks. This is a custom Knicks uniform for Calvin Heimberg, who is a professional disc golfer. He won his first major. I had a 10-1 bet with my co-host over on the Upshot podcast. And so I bet he would win a major this year, and he did. So I got to get the Calvin Heimberg custom jersey with number 49 representing his winning score at the major. So I'll have to be explaining this anytime I go to a Knicks game. Yeah, it was good.
I'm into that.
All right. Should we just go ahead and get moving here? We got a lot to get to.
So I know we got off to a little bit of a weird start. I do have a trivia question of the week if you want to try and run it out. We can
I am ready. Let us get the question of the week.
All right, Charlie, you've talked about this quite a bit, that in the men's division of club, we've gone quite a while since we've had a repeating champion. Not even just repeating. We're on a run of unique champions. I believe dating back to Revolver in 2015 was the last time that a team within the series was not unique. So that gives us 2016 through 2024. So 8, we're up to 8 right now, 8 unique champions. How many in a row are the longest streaks for the mixed and women's divisions in this category? That is our trivia question. How many non unique champions have we had in a row in the women's and mixed divisions?
Well, let me just run it down from 2016 Ironside, and then we had Revolver, and then we had Pony, and then we had Sockeye and Ring, Bravo, Truck, Rhino. That's insane. It's hard to believe that we've gone that many years without any kind of dynastic team. I mean, for a while there, we thought Pony was going to be some kind of dynasty team, and that didn't pan out. And I think it's very realistic that this streak continues with a machine win, right? I mean, it maybe isn't the most likely of all outcomes, but it's certainly possible. Otherwise, I think we're going to get our first repeat, right? Is there any other team that's credible that hasn't won since 2016? I don't think so.
Mallard, probably.
Okay. So
Um,
anyway, let me think for a second. You tell us
Dig.
about
Dig
Breakmark.
Dig is your other credible team for the record.
I dig. Good point. Good point.
Um,
Yeah,
and yes, I'm
fair
happy to
enough,
tell everybody.
but it's not Ironside.
Yeah, I will tell everyone about Breakmark while you think about what those longest streak of unique champions are in the men's and women's,
It,
or in the mixed
sorry, is
and
it
women's
longest
divisions in
all
club.
time or is it current?
It is longest all time. I mean,
Got it.
that's what I'm. Yeah,
Got it.
we're sticking with it. That's our longest all
Got it.
time. Um, Now, Breakmark, they're on a 20-year streak right now of providing great gear for Ultimate players. It's their 20th anniversary, and they're celebrating. They're doing giveaways on Instagram every Friday. Make sure you're hitting them up on Instagram so you can get in on the free goodies. But they also heard about how a lot of customers, they use the bundles that people have, that Breakmark has. They love those. But sometimes you just want one item. You just want sublimated jersey or a sublimated pair of shorts. Drop the pricing on all that stuff for you. So $30 sublimated shorts, $35 you can get short sleeves, reversibles. And again, those are sublimated. So you can get all the crazy colorways that you want on that. You get the same quality, same amazing customer service, but at a lower price. So check out Breakmark. It's their 20th anniversary. Celebrate with them.
All right, Keith. The streak in the women's division lately has not been very long. Perhaps we've gone 4 years in a row. Feels like 3. It's kind of like the max we've seen without a repeat for quite a while. But if we go way back, I bet there were some years where there was like a lot of change in teams and new teams coming to nationals and some randomness. So I'll say the women's division top streak is a measly 5 years.
I think you overestimate the early days of the women's division, which were a little more spotty, but this has been a division dominated by dynasties. So you were very close to the women's division. 4, I believe, is the correct answer by my count. And it's happening now. Like 4 has happened. I think this is the 3rd time that we've had 4. But we're in a 4 right now. With
We're in a
Fury,
4.
Brute,
Okay.
Molly Brown. Oh no, we have a shot at 4 right now. Fury, Brute, Molly Brown. That's where we're at. But there's some early day 4s, but gotta remember this is a division where Condors won 4 in a row. Godiva won 7 of 8. Maniacs won 3 out of 5 or 3 out of 4, something like that. And obviously Fury. I mean, it's been a dynastic division.
I just checked. I think it's only been 4 once, and it was the first 4 years. So
First 4 years.
My thought process was right, but my number was slightly wrong. That's pretty wild. Okay, mixed is going to be crazier than that. I think mixed. There's a lot of variance, especially earlier. I'll say the answer is 7.
7. All right, by my count, you're again very close. By my count, I've got 8 here. So
okay, 8.
I guess equaling what we're seeing in the men's division. And I'll get you exactly when that was. So I have from starting in 2005, Brass Monkey, and then successively Mischief, Shazam, Fly Coons, Polar Bears, and ending in 2011 with Blackbird, who won back-to-back.
You missed Axis of Seville.
Oh, and Axis, yes, you're right.
I am sure.
Where do we? Yes, Axis.
I just pulled it up.
Is the other?
I just pulled it up. I wish I could claim that I had such deep ball knowledge that I remember that Axis of Seville won in 2009, but I will not pretend that. Looking at it here,
I do remember that.
Okay,
that was a crazy one.
Shazam won in 2004. Shazam Returns won in 2007. Different teams according to USAU. You say no?
I'm counting that as the same team. Yeah, they're in our document as the same team. So
then
I'm counting as the same
starting in 05, yeah, Brass, Mischief, Shazam, Flycoon, Seville, Polar Bears, Blackbird. So that's 7. Isn't that what I said? Because then 2012, Blackbird won again. I just counted 7.
Brass Monkey.
Oh, did I count Donner Party?
Monkey, Mischief,
no. Shazam Returns.
Shazam, Axis,
So
Flycoons, Polar Bears, Blackbird?
No. Okay, so look, 2005 Brass Monkey, because you can't go to 04 because Shazam won, and you're saying that counts with Shazam Returns. So Brass
Agreed.
Monkey, Mischief, Shazam Returns, Mental Tots Fly Coons, Axis Seville, Polar Bears, Blackbird. That's it. 7.
All right. You get the credit then, Charlie.
W.
You did it. You dinged one in.
And I assume that the men's
Thank you,
current
producer.
streak has got to be the longest.
Well, yeah.
Ever.
So we're at 8 right now, right? Not counting because you don't count 2020. So I think we're at 8.
That's wild. We'll see if it keeps going. Could we get to 10? I'm not sure about that, but
the way to open up a longer streak than 10 is for somebody to fold and get a new team.
Right. All right. Very good. Well, let's keep it moving. We're going to dive into our regionals preview. We're going division by division, or I should say region by region. And we were starting with the Great Lakes. Now, I will just tell you right now, as we take a look at the overall bid allocations, we do not have schedules for every region yet. It's criminal behavior, but it is what is happening. I believe the deadline is supposed to be tonight. So in theory, we will have all of the regions' schedules out by tonight. And we won't have any like Friday night disasters like we've had the last couple of years. There's your bid allocation. We've got some very interesting ones with, Southwest mixed. A lot of people vying for really both of those bids, it feels like. Southeast men's with RDU missing some of the players that got them to the bid. Northeast men's where Phoenix got a bid largely by beating a really understaffed Bravo team that then picked up a lot of points for them along the way. So should be really, really interesting regionals this year. And we begin in the Great Lakes, where it is a 1-bid region in women's and mixed and a 2-bid region in men's. And Keith, which one you want to start in? I think a little chalky in the Great Lakes for the most part.
Indeed, and that's nothing we're unfamiliar with. But why don't we start in the men's division because it's both in front of me and they have the most bids. The only division with 2 bids here. Your top 2 seeds are Machine and new Great Lakes denizen, Toronto Goat. Yes, they are in the Great Lakes. I don't know how far is Toronto from a Great Lake. I don't even know the answer to that. But you're probably
I think it's like literally right next to the Great Lakes. Like, that's why it makes sense.
Perfect fit.
They're right next to Lake Ontario.
Like they knew what they were doing.
Toronto is adjacent to Lake Ontario and also quite close to Lake Huron and Lake Erie. It definitely makes sense for it to be in the Great Lakes.
Now the top team to potentially disrupt them, I guess, by rank is I-69 from Indy. They've only lost 1 game this year to Tanasi, but they don't have a ton of notable wins. So they've beaten some teams in their region, but we'll see if they can actually take one off of. I think Machine is going to feel pretty safe, and this Goat team is not exactly put it together in a great way. Like we've seen them be inconsistent, but there's not a super convincing case to me for Flying Dutchman I-69. There's some hype in the Discord for Haymaker. I don't know if that's like actual hype or just like we know some friends on the team hype, but yeah, it could be a little spicier than usual because of that second bid.
We are seeing, for the most part, I think with full-sized regions, they're going to go straight to double elimination brackets for their 2-bid regions, which I love. I've always loved this format. I feel like it just kind of like amplifies the meaning of each game right away. You can get to the finals pretty much in a day. You're ready to go to the finals. And I've always loved this format when I've seen it in the Northeast. So no schedule out yet for men's Great Lakes. But yeah, Keith, look, Machine's going to dominate. That's not a question. I mean, I think I've heard Goat maybe isn't traveling with a full strength roster to regionals. Could that open the door for another team to pick them off? Maybe, but I just don't know if I see that credible contender here in the Great Lakes. Um, Ultimately, I expect Goat to get through, and I don't think they're a great team this year, but they're okay. They are good enough. I-69
Maybe
is the next highest ranked team.
go ahead.
That's all I have. They won
Oh,
Central
maybe
Plains Sectionals 12-11 over Haymaker, and they've only lost once this season, but they played a very soft schedule out of Indianapolis.
maybe this just happened, but the schedule is up now. So I'm able to look at
Wow.
Goat's
Right.
roster to see who they have. And they still have, I don't think they have Tom Ebeltinch who's playing with them, but they do have Blastman and McHale picking up with like Sam Lewis and Phil Turner, Luke Comire, James Lewis as well, Mike McKenzie, Andrew Carroll still kicking around. So I think this Go team certainly looks like they're the second most talented team in the region and pretty experienced too.
The Indy team is solid. I mean, going to be
Yeah,
competitive.
they usually
They
are.
should face Goat in the semis, in the front door semis. Um, I just don't know if there's quite enough there, but I won't be blown away if they get that upset. The question is, is it the kind of thing where they beat Goat in the semis, for instance, and then lose in the game to go after losing to Machine? Maybe. Um,
Maybe the
so
Flying Dutchman, the Columbus team, like maybe they've beaten teams like Temper and Mallard this year, but and they played close with Goat way early in the season at PEC East as well as with I-69, but they lost both of those games, so I think it's an uphill climb. But maybe they have an upset in them.
All right. Well, we should keep it moving here. Let's go to mixed. I believe we do have the bracket for mixed to put up on the screen right now. I think you're right, Keith. I mean, we may have some stuff drop while we're here on the air. Look, Hybrid is the best team in the country, and there's just not going to be a team that's going to give them a challenge here in the Great Lakes. And thanks everybody else for coming out. It should be a fun weekend to play for the top select spot.
Do we want to do picks? By the way, you want to formalize
Yeah,
picks? Or
we
you
might
want to
as
wait
well
till
do
the
our
end?
picks as we go. No, I think we should do them as we go.
Yeah, seems like it makes sense.
I am taking Machine
You're
and
not
Goat.
deviating
No
from the top
surprise.
two. Yeah.
Nope.
I am also taking the chalk in that order. And the subscribers, I believe, are doing the same thing. Yes, they're on Machine and Goat as well. Yeah, hybrid, the big favorite here. Their Union has had some solid teams over the years. It's totally feasible that they have a national quality team, but that's just simply not good enough against hybrid, barring an act of God. So uh hybrid, easy choice here. Parlay, ramp, teams we've talked about in years past, but there's nothing really here to indicate there's an upset brewing without a second bid in this region.
And Union went to PEC East and they lost all of the games that they would have needed to win. They lost to Shine, they lost to Amp, they lost to Sprocket, they lost to Disco Club, and they lost to Pittsburgh Port Authority. And they had come out ranked 20th. They're a solid team, but they lost to all of the bubble teams, and so no second bid.
That seems pretty straightforward, as is picking in this region, where obviously I'll be taking hybrid, as will the subscribers.
All right, let's go to the women's division. Pretty chalky here too. Sixers now moved into this region, kind of just gets to dominate, and that's what I expect. I mean, could they face a challenge, Keith? Do you see the possibility?
I'm actually optimistic that they could get pushed.
Nemesis
This
is
Sixers
a
team,
solid team.
right? Nemesis has had a pretty solid year, below maybe what you typically expect from them, but they've beaten Dark Sky and Pop. Those are teams that I think are at the Nationals tier. They've played tight with Nightlock, also in that group. They played around the bubble team line, and Sixers, we know that they've had some roster shifts. We know that they're going to pick up people going into the series or into nationals that may not be present for regionals. We know obviously that they lost Britt Santos injury. Like, could you see a Sixers team that's in flux going up against a nemesis team that has their back against the wall and has proven pretty solid this year? Maybe you get a little bit of that Great Lakes weather to shake things up. I think it's possible. I don't expect it though. I'm ultimately still going to stick with Sixers here, but I do think Nemesis is a live dog.
Yeah, and they deserve a little bit of benefit of the doubt, given that they've had some decent results. Like, you look back at some of their losses, right? They've gotten crushed by Riot a couple times. I mean, the real thing is like what happened at ESC, where they lost to Vengeance and they lost to Flight and they barely beat Starling. It's not exactly confidence inspiring, but they also have some decent results from PC West. So it's hard to know what to believe. I think the problem is Sixers is actually just really good. And so, even those Sixers with a very thin roster at Pro Championships went over at that tournament. I think that the reality is that they're probably 4 or 5 points better than Nemesis. And even in a bad game, I think Sixers still wins by 1 or 2.
I mostly agree with that assessment. I would expect this final to be 15-11 or something of that nature.
All right, let's move on to the Mid-Atlantic. And I think we just keep the same order for ease of operations here. We'll go to talk men's first. This is intriguing. I will admit this is intriguing because you have this new team in Pac-Man that is actually technically the number 1 ranked team in this region. They came in 5th in the final seeding, in the final USAU rankings before the series. Truck Stop coming in 8th. Now, I think Trucks should be considered the favorite here in the Mid-Atlantic, but it is the case that Pac-Man should end up being the number 1 seed at the tournament. So you got those two teams, and then you've got, a pretty good Temper team that came in 18th in the rankings and Vault at 25. So if you think Pac-Man is a little overinflated, I guess the question is by how much, and it could Temper or Vault take them out. We have certainly seen this kind of thing happen before in the Mid-Atlantic.
It's surprising to me to look at both where Vault has arrived at this year, but also like the shine really feels like it wore off them, especially after they bombed out at Elite Select Challenge. And they didn't win Select Flight Invite. That I think really stole a lot of the thunder for a Vault team that's been to nationals. And but then again, it's like they ended up finishing 25th. Like they had subscribers. They're the 3rd most popular team in this region in the subscribers picks, over Temper, who I think is there doesn't seem like there's a lot of ceiling for Temper to reach based on their results this year. So I understand looking at this Vault team and seeing some of the names that we know, plus some good young players. Mitchell Blaha, Cal Nightingale, Zach Burpee. They've been able to add in some young talent to this team to go with your Jared Banks and your Steve Wharton Pease and such. So I think that Vault could be spicy, but I think Pac-Man might just be good. And Truck is, I think, far too talented and experienced to get upset here. I think like the subscribers, I'm going to take Truck to win. I think Pac-Man's good, but not like, hey, let's think about Sam. He's good. So I'm going to take Truck to win this, but I feel pretty good about Pac-Man finishing 2nd or in the top 2.
Yeah. I mean, an early season win for Pac-Man over Truck doesn't mean too much to me. But what does mean a lot to me is the fact that Pac-Man went to ESC and played great and crushed Shrimp, crushed Mallard, beat Double Wide by 4, only loss coming to Sockeye. Like, I think this is genuinely a borderline top 10 team, and they should comfortably advance past a Temper and Vault teams that are just not as talented as them. And I understand why people would be skeptical, because it's like, oh, Philadelphia and another iteration of the Philadelphia men's team that's going to underperform. but like they're genuinely pretty good. And remember, Alex Atkins is on this roster. The Grossbergs, like this is feeling like a legitimately true Philly men's team as AMP has started to decline in relevance in the city. And what that means is that they're going to be good. I mean, the kids today are not going to remember the Philly teams of old that were going to semis of club nationals. It's not that long ago. So I don't think this is a semis of nationals team, but I think that they might be a quarters team. That's not crazy. I think that they're going to comfortably advance. And I actually think it's possible that the Truck versus Pac-Man game will be closer than the, loser of that game versus whoever, presumably Pac-Man. But I think Pac-Man's alive to win this region.
Is the Philly semis team you're talking about? Is that like Pike? Like who? Oh wow.
I mean, it's been longer than I think. When did Pike last make semis? I know. I just don't even remember. But Pike,
we
had Southpaw
semis in
who was
2004.
Like are they wow? Are they considered Jersey or Philly? I associate them with Philly.
Their team name is New Jersey, but yeah, I think it's both. I think it's both.
And Southpaw was decent. Was decent. They made quarters a couple times in the early 2010s. Anyway, I think Philly's back.
EMF saying Pac-Man over Truck in the chat right now.
It's definitely possible. Truck has been looking a little shaky.
Is it more likely that Pac-Man wins this region or misses nationals?
Oh, it's more likely that they win the region for sure.
Okay. That's your temperature check.
Yep.
Are you taking them to win, or do you Truck win in this region?
No, I am going to ultimately take Truck. I think Truck's going to have solved some of their problems, and should be a good game though.
Mixed division. We've got Rally and Amp as the top two seeds, but there's been some buzz, although I think mostly from people within the Mid-Atlantic mixed seed, about the potential for there to be an upset at this tournament. And when you look at the records for Rally and Amp, like they certainly don't seem infallible. I know everybody's on where Amp was at last year. Now, ultimately, that they ended up with pretty good rankings, but you look at a team like Anthem from Baltimore, they're 21 in the rankings. Port Authority is 2 spots above them at 19. And then, I think the next most notable team is this Fireball pickup team that showed up to conferences and our sectionals and did well. And I think was part of why we saw the whole conversation about pickup teams pop up. But I think there is some chance for there to be an upset here. But what do you think?
Oh my gosh. I mean, is it possible? Sure, it's possible. I mean, this Fireball team that you're talking about, yes, there's some big names. There's some OGs from the area on this team. Del Rico Johnson's for sure the sort of the biggest name, but they lost 2 games at sectionals. Like they're not going to beat Amp. Sorry. Do I think that Amp is susceptible? Yes. I'm just not sure there's another team there to take the bid from them. So I have Rally Amp in that order, and I just don't think there's enough of a credible team elsewhere to get that win off them.
Yeah, Port Authority, we mentioned earlier they had the win over Union. They beat Wild Card. They played close with Lotus and Burrito. They beat Donut. Like there's not exactly a singing resume. You don't look at this team, and they had some close losses against like ADC and Amp earlier in the year. So it's not impossible. It's crazy to see Dylan Best's name. I feel like I haven't seen that name in a while. With this roster, Chris Graber and Shawnee Rosenthal. So there's some talent here. But yeah, I think I gotta take Amp, and I'll take Rally to win the region as well, and Amp to finish second, even though they're right next to each other in the USAU rankings, I believe.
All right,
And
let's go.
the subscribers are doing the same thing, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Let's go to the women's side. Scandal, Parcha, Grit are your bid earners, 3rd, 10th, 15th in the rankings. The clear contender here is Flight out of Philadelphia. They are number 21. I feel pretty confident. Scandal and Parcha, no problem. They're going through. They've both looked really good this season. Parcha's been the best they've been in a few years. Grit, okay, like maybe susceptible, but on the other hand, Grit beat them 13-8 in July. Flight, that is. So, it was 13-10 Parcha over Flight at ESC. Like, maybe, but I still think it's like sub 10% odds, and I'm going Scandal, Parcha, Grit in that order.
I do think you have to squint to see Flight pulling it off. Emily Moeller, they got some nice college players on this team, like Poppy Wagner. They also have Casey Gorman. So there's some stuff here for Flight, but they have Grace Maroon. That's I guess the big name for this team. But can Grace Maroon like just carry you past a solid Grit team? Maybe you catch them in the game to go. And let me see. Do we have the format here? Is there a situation where like Grit could lose 2 in a row and then they have to play Flight or something?
Usually 3 bid regions, the top 2 teams qualify by making the finals.
Yeah.
And that would make sense to playing crossovers. I mean, you can check on the
right. I don't
the
think it can happen
USAU.
that way. So I think that might open more of a door for Flight, but otherwise, yeah, I think I'm with you. I'll take Scandal, Parcha, Grit in that order. I will say, subscribers, they got Parcha winning this region.
Ooh.
By a single vote. They have Parcha over Scandal and Grit finishing 3rd.
That's a hot take. Have they played this season? I don't think they did. Parcha got him at US Open, but Scandal was not Scandal at US Open, folks. That is over extrapolating based on scoreboard watching. I mean, they didn't have Cammie, they didn't have Claire Trope, and obviously those players make a big, big difference. So yeah, I think Scandal comfortably. I am checking the schedule though, really quick. And they play crossovers, and then yes, if you make the final, you're through. So the pool winners will cross over, Keith, which determines the semis matchups basically. So you should have, in theory, you're going to have Scandal versus Grit crossover, Parcha versus Flight crossover. If the top seeds win those games, then Scandal would play Flight in semis, as you would expect, and lock up a bid. Parcha would play Grit. So that could be interesting because, how much do you, if you're Grit, how much do you want to put into that game?
It's there's going to be some questions that have to get asked probably.
If you lose that game,
it's very little.
You drop into the.
But you got to live up to the name.
The game to go. I know.
You can't name yourself.
I think you play hard. You at least play hard the first half. You play to win for sure. Okay. You sticking with the chalk here, Scandal, Parcha, Grit? I think that's what you said.
I will take the chalk.
Northeast. Here we go. This is the first really big question mark pick, and I think the first spot where Keith and I are likely to diverge. Northeast men's. Last look, there was no schedule up, but I'm checking again right now. Still no schedule up. So 3-bid region. Dig, Pony, and Phoenix are your bid earners. But remember, and we talked about this earlier, Phoenix earning a bid largely due to getting to play Bravo when they were a shell of themselves and winning that game 14-13. Now look, they still played well. They lost pretty close to ring. They got a lot of the key wins over the teams in that 20-40 range that you need to win if you want to kind of hold up your ranking, and they did that. So they earn a bid. and it almost feels like they earned the probabilistic bid for the Northeast, because when you look down the board here, you have Phoenix at 14, Blueprint at 20, Mephisto at 22, Red Tide at 24, Sprout at 28, Scoop at 32, Shade at 35. So a lot of credible teams, particularly, I think, Phoenix, Blueprint, Mephisto, Red Tide, and maybe Sprout. So, there's two questions, Keith. First of all, you taking Dig or Pony to win the region?
I think I sat down and thought about this, and I was super hyped on Pony. I don't if you remember, I picked them to win the Pro Championships. I was a little cool on them coming into the year. I've been waving back and forth, but I always seem to be behind on Pony. When I pick them, they're going back down, and then when I don't pick them, they're going back up. But I think ultimately I decided, why am I spending all this time thinking about how good Pony's going to be? Dig is just good. They're just really good. So
Yes, they are just really good.
I think Pony could play really well and still lose to Dig. So
yes,
since I feel like Pony is more inconsistent and we can see either side of them, and Dig is good enough to beat them either way, I'm just going to take Dig to win.
I agree with that. And Dig just destroyed Pony 15-9, admittedly in a deep consolation game. The last day of Pro Championships, not necessarily like a super obvious, high motivation spot, but I still think that reflects kind of the relative basis of these teams right now. I think Dig is just a better team on both sides of the disc. They are more consistent right now. Pony is a little streaky and has some stuff to figure out. And I don't think Pony can't win that game, but I think it would be a pretty surprising upset for me, given where the teams stand and what they've looked like so far. Then the question, Keith, what are you doing with this third bid? Who do you take to win this bid, and who do you think's the favorite? First of all, I'm not sure
I
Phoenix
feel
as
like
the bid earner is the favorite.
No, and I think Phoenix's bid is a little fraudulent. I mean, I feel like they're getting floated by wins over Bravo and RDU at PEC. Bravo when they sent that skeleton crew, and then RDU picks up Toby Brooks and Alan Laviolette, plays way better and boosts their ranking, and thus brings Phoenix with them. The rest of their resume is pretty underwhelming. They did crush Garden State, which I think is a nice win. That said, are we totally? I do feel like they're maybe getting a little overlooked, but I think it's a pretty even horse race between Blueprint and Mephisto for those next spots. I think that their resumes stack up pretty well against each other. But I personally, I like Mephisto here, and I think maybe they're the slight favorite anyway. This is a team that beat Pac-Man. They did lose to Blueprint, but this was back, I believe, when they didn't have Malik Ojay-Sama. They went to Canadian Ultimate Club Championships without MAS and beat Furious and beat Phoenix, played very well at CUCs. And now they're going to have the full complement. It's a talented team. They have Christophe Tremblay-Yoncas, the Lalonde Landrys. There's a lot of talent here. Jakob Brissett. I think that this team is pretty legit. Maybe they haven't quite played to that level all the time, but I think they're pretty good. I like them to be the third team here.
It's really tough. I mean, Ojay-Sama will be, among the group of teams that is vying for the third bid, he will easily be the best player on the field in those games. So that alone is a reason to like Mephisto. They played really well at CUC, the Canadian Ultimate Championships. They destroyed Furious. They genuinely might be I don't know about a pre-quarters-ish team. They're the favorite. Let's put it that way. They're the favorite. But I'm not going to go into regionals and make this mistake again. I'm taking 2 teams out of the New York City area. I'm taking Blueprint to make it into nationals again. Another storybook season, another crazy game to go. And yeah, I just think that you can't count out that Mephisto win from earlier in terms of the confidence department. Blueprint's been really solid. They destroyed everybody at sectionals. And they've just been a good team all year. Like, are they a great team? No. Are they good enough to win this bid? Absolutely. They they've got a couple of sketchy losses, but also played well against good teams. And they beat Florida untied. They beat Temper. They're coming off of a really nice run of performances, and they left no doubt about who the best team in the Metro section is. Obviously excluding Pony, who didn't play there.
As Christian Flores points out, Mephisto beating Furious 15-5 in the semis at CUCs.
It was a beatdown.
Max Charles says, "You're telling me the guy in the Knicks jersey is picking the New York team Blueprint," which is totally fair. I appreciate that you're.
I didn't pick him last time.
I know, and you paid the price. I do think that there's a lot more intrigue for this third spot because I think Red Tide and Sprout are potentially good enough to upset one of these teams. There's a chance that a team that's on their way to the game to go, like, could Mephisto lose to Sprout and get knocked out early? Like, yes, I think that's possible. So that adds extra intrigue to this region.
Should be a blast. All right.
Red Tide has like 70 people on their roster also.
Listen, Red Tide's kind of legit. We got some Red Tide hype in our inbox.
They have Noah Backer, right? They have
yep. Henry Babcock.
Yeah.
They got some dudes. They are a credible contender. I think the problem with me is that they've never done it before. That's one thing that Blueprint has going for them. A lot of guys on that roster.
But Blueprint didn't have it going for them. I mean, Blueprint and Red Tide, I think you probably could draw a lot of analogs between the two, a lot of parallels from last year's Blueprint to this year's Red Tide.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the mixed division. Is this fake interesting? I feel like this might be fake interesting. Exist, Slow, and Sprocket are your bid earners. And then you've got Wildcard hanging out there just below Sprocket in the rankings. Sprocket 15th, Wildcard 18th. And you got a couple of other top 30 teams in Darkwing and Townies. But Sprocket is lower ranked than they should be because they sent a weaker roster, a.k.a. no Tanner Johnson Go, to Pro Champs. I think they're closer to being a top 10 team. And, they're literally 1 year removed from being in the national final. So I really think Exist, Slow, and Sprocket are going to be your nationals teams. But we've seen crazier things happen at Northeast Mixed.
Fake interesting is a good way to put it. I mean, I think Wildcard and Darkwing and Townies and company are like solid teams, but I think we're talking about 3 elite teams. And I just don't see a lot in the resumes of these other teams to get the upset here. I think there's more intrigue about what the placement of those 3 teams is going to be, which is a conversation I feel like we've had for a couple of years running here about how these teams are going to perform. Who do you have winning this region, Charlie?
I have Exist. I think Exist at times has looked like a top 3 team in the country. I think it's actually a pretty big test for how good they are if they can get past everybody in this region and convincingly win the Northeast.
That is all true, but they also just it always seems like they've got one bad game in them, right? And that's exactly what you don't want at regionals. So I'm taking Slow to win the region, Exist to finish second, and Sprocket to finish third. The subscribers who, by the way, were taking Mephisto as the third team, and took Pony to win in the men's division. They have a tie between Slow and Exist. So we don't actually have to resolve it, but just noting that it's that close.
I think, tie has to go to seeding, I think, in the end, if it matters. But Gene in the chat points out that Red Tide went to nationals in 1998 and 2001 and says that experience is essential for this squad.
Love that old head
A
energy.
deep well of history on Red Tide. Yeah, look, could Wild Card make a run? Sure. But again, I just think Sprocket is a little underranked relative to where they fit in the grand scheme of things. But Sprocket Slow could be a really interesting could be a really interesting game. But they got those crossovers first, so Slow and Wild Card should likely play. Sprocket and Exist likely play in those crossovers before you get into the make the final and earn a bid 3-bid format.
Agreed. Women's division, very similar story, I think, in a lot of ways. Brute Squad, Bent, and Iris are your bid earning teams. And your top challengers, Starling, who's just ranked outside the cutoff. Siege is another well-known team from the area. Iris, do you think that they're vulnerable? Or is this team just comfortably going to take their third spot?
Okay. Question. I want to make sure that I'm checking my own notes here. It was last year. Yes. Iris barely beating the Canadian Masters team for the last bid in 2024. And it was a 4-bid region because Sixers were still in the region. I am highly skeptical of Iris. I'm taking Starling to get the last bid. I think Starling's going to get it done and finally go to nationals for the first time. They've been a borderline team for a couple of years. This is their shot. They lost by 1 to Iris earlier this year, and Iris looked so shaky last year at regionals. I don't know why. Just gut feeling pick. Starling or Iris is the favorite by all metrics, by ranking, by matchup history, by overall power rating, et cetera, et cetera. But I just think Starling's going to do it.
I do think Starling is a strong contender, and you're right. They haven't done it before, and they've been at the borderline. They've knocked up against some of these teams, and I think they can come close. But I'm just not ready to predict that they're going to break through this year. Mo Doherty, Sterling Marone, those are great top end pieces for this team, but I think Iris maybe has them a little outclassed in that category with Flo Dion and Penelope Robert. I do agree that Iris has a tendency to underperform, but they also have a lot more experience getting through these games and making it to nationals. So I'm going to take Iris to finish third. What are you thinking of the top two between Brute and Bent?
I think Brute wins comfortably. I think Brute built different. Yeah. I assume Levka will be there.
It's a reasonable assumption. I don't know if Gino will be there for Bent, but that could be another difference maker.
I assume she will.
Yeah, I mean, I assume so too. I think I'm with you that I think Brute has a better chance of blowing Bent out than they do of losing.
I think that's right. I mean, Bent's good. It's just there's levels to it.
The subscribers are taking it in that order, although they have Brute and Bent separated by 1 vote. So make of that what you will.
All right, let's move on. Northwest is next. Is an interesting region this year. A little bid light, huh? We're used to the Northwest getting a few more bids. And this time around, just not coming up with the bids that they would want to have. Only 2-bid region in the men's side. Rhino will be the clear favorite. Sockeye also earning a bid. They're sitting at 10th in the rankings. But then you've got a couple of serious contenders in Furious George and in Shrimp out of Salt Lake. And then, you squint and see Dark Star down there at 31. Is Sockeye susceptible, Keith, to a Furious or a Shrimp taking them out of nationals?
That is the $1 million question, because I do think Furious and Shrimp are both good. But I think Sockeye is you said there's levels to it, and I think Sockeye could be a level above. Uh, with Eli Diamond and Declan Miller both playing extremely well, translating very well over from the college season. Daniel Chen has played well for them, and of course they have Trent Dillon at the helm and Johnny Malks, who they've added this year. I think there's just too much talent and experience on this Sockeye team. Uh, I think that Furious and Shrimp make for two of the best challengers in any region. I think there's a lot of regions they could go to and potentially be the favorites or be expected to advance. But when you only have two bids, I'm not exactly sure why Shrimp has had such a tough regular season. Why they weren't really in the bid conversation at all. Once it came down to it, so I'm not sure what's going on with them, but I have trouble seeing it because I think Sockeye might just be legit good.
Yeah, I mean, Furious getting kind of rocked at Canadian Ultimate Championships does not inspire confidence that they're going to suddenly like bring it together and ball out and get a bid, but they have legitimate talent on the roster. So I think it's possible. I just think that Sockeye, to me, is like a very exciting up and coming young team. They feel like where Revolver was like 2 or 3 years ago in terms of kind of in the rebuild process, but actually starting to be kind of scary. Guys like Declan Miller. Shrimp is good. I just think they're not good enough to beat these teams. I mean, listen, Rhino or Sockeye, if they do not play well against Furious and or Shrimp, will lose. Like those teams are definitely good enough to beat you if you play poorly. But I believe that, first of all, I think Rhino is actually really, really good and even better than what we've seen from this regular season because they haven't had their full lineup. And with their full lineup of regionals, they're going to be nasty. I think they could dominate and win the final at 15-8 kind of thing. So I'm pretty high on Rhino's chances. I think Sockeye is definitely the more susceptible team, but I really like what they've got, and I am taking those two teams to advance.
The subscribers are also taking them in that order, Rhino and Sockeye. This is one of like bracket formats. I think that probably favors the strongest two teams as other teams kind of have to grind their way through.
All right, let's move on to the mixed division. Just one bid this year. We'd have to go into the history books to find the last time that the Northwest only had one bid in the mixed division, but it's BFG, and there's really not a team that I see coming close to them. Everyone else is ranked 20th or worse. Mixtape is just not the same team that they used to be. And I think BFG is going to win really comfortably, Keith.
Yeah, I've been hearing about a youth movement in the mixtape ranks. So tough to see how that group's going to pull it all together. There is still some great championship experience on the roster, so maybe that's enough. But this BFG team is they can title, and it would be a huge upset for them to take a loss to mixtape or Moondog or Scorch.
A lot of teams dropping out of this tournament, forfeiting their regionals bid. You'll see there's only 12 teams. This is a 16-team regional, but only 12 teams going in the mixed division. There has been some significant grousing about having to go to Salt Lake City to play regionals. And there's been a lot of complaining about the fact that like Utah's a red state and that, players aren't safe to go there and play in Salt Lake City. I got to be honest with you, Keith. I just think it's ridiculous complaining. I think people complaining in the Northwest have to go to Salt Lake and go to Utah once every I don't know what it is, 6 or 7 years to play regionals is silly. And Salt Lake is a great city. It's a welcoming city. The fields are amazing. They're 10 minutes from the airport. It's a great place to play Ultimate. And I'm sad to see that that the teams aren't going. I understand logically that people don't want to pay for the flights to go to Salt Lake City because they think they have no chance to go to nationals, and that's true because BFG is going to kill everybody. But I I think there's a lot of complaining about really just not wanting to pay to go to Salt Lake City.
It's tough. It's a big region, and the Utah teams are often tasked with doing a lot of the travel, both for their like competitive opportunities during the season and for the series itself. So shaking it up and hosting it there and taking some of that burden off them every once in a while seems reasonable to me, at least from that standpoint.
I mean, the Salt Lake teams literally have to fly to everything, and they do it without complaining. In fact, in the college division,
I don't know about that.
they ask to be able to pay money in order to be able to play in the college championships if they are at BYU, and people tell them to get lost. So I don't really want to hear it.
All right. How about in the women's division? 3 bids in this region as well, with Riot as the top team, Schwa and Traffic the other strength bid earners. Challengers, probably Dark Sky is maybe where the list ends. No pun intended, as End is maybe the next team up. It seems like we've seen a bit of a fall off for Underground. So, Schwa, Traffic haven't exactly been setting the world on fire this regular season. Any chance for a Dark Sky upset here?
I really want to say yes, Keith. I do. But I just don't see it. I just don't see that there's quite enough talent there to overcome, Schwa and Traffic, who are both really good teams. Like it may feel in our mind that those teams are a little weaker, but that's relative to like them being like borderline semis teams in the past. They're still pre-quarters or quarters teams at nationals. So yeah, I don't see it happening.
The thing for me is I need to see Dark Sky taking the steps forward to like really start knocking off elite teams in the regular season. And this regular season in particular was a little weird. So maybe they didn't really feel like they got that chance. They played Parcha in a weird game at ESC. They otherwise Fury is the only really elite team that I think they've gotten to see. But getting dogged by Fury is kind of the par for the course for everybody. But yeah, it's they haven't exactly impressed in that way. So I think I also will be taking the chalk here. Schwa and Traffic are probably just pretty solid teams, and Riot's obviously really good. Brody in the chat, Brody Brotman, who's an ultimate historian for us, says that 2013, last time Northwest Mixed Division has had 1 bid.
Wow. So 12 years. That's they'll be back. There's so much talent in the Seattle area. They'll be back. Part of it is that like Riot is really good right now. Like sometimes it's like, where does the talent coalesce? We saw for a while there, Riot kind of had that downturn. Meanwhile, we had 2 incredible mixed teams in both BFG and Mixtape. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we've got 4 more regions coming your way. We'll be talking North Central, Southeast, Southwest, South Central, and then we got our mailbag question of the week. So stay with us. It's Deep Look.
The game's biggest stars on the game's brightest stage. The world's most competitive annual tournament pits the playmakers and the game changers against one another in a weekend of action.
So many legacies on the line in this game.
Arguably the best player.
And that's just ridiculous. She's got it, and it's over.
Welcome back to Deep Look. Regionals previews roll on. North Central is up next. North Central men's. We begin there. It has been a very interesting region for a few years now and remains so here in 2025. It is a one-bid region. Sub-Zero out of Minneapolis is your favorite, but not with a ton of conviction. You've got Mad Men at 19, General Strike at 27, and kind of a scary Mallard team lurking down at 30. Keith, is this a year where Sub actually deserves a little more respect, or is this still a total toss-up in your mind?
What is? I just opened the Mallard roster, and we can't do it on the show, but I encourage you to on your own time to do that and see the crazy GIF that is their like team logo. Yeah, I mean, I hesitate to like make things sound like a sure thing in this region of all regions. I don't know that I think Sub-Zero's that good, but whatever's just short of feeling like a sure thing. Like these are solid challengers. I don't actually know who is on Mallard right now. I joked in the Discord that I think Mallard has an opt-out roster. Like everybody is included on the Mallard roster unless you opt out of it. So I don't really know who's on this team. Look at their regionals roster. I do see some familiar names, some Carleton, Minnesota area young players, plus like Josh Klein, Mike Obira. But I don't know, man. I think Sub is a team that could potentially like push for quarters, and I can't find myself getting too excited about these other teams altogether. When you're talking about Ryan Osgar and Jack Williams with Mallard, it's a little different. But
Keith has not acknowledged that I have turned into the Mallard GIF in my corner of the screen.
Oh, there you go. Excellently done. Thank you for your contribution.
I just sorry, producer. I swapped it off right as you. I'll put it back on. You can full screen me. Yeah, look.
This is why you got to be in the YouTube live shows.
Mallard is fun. But I think Sub just looks quite good. I think that they're still not a like top team, but they're a lot closer to being back to the Sub of old than they have been in a while. And so I kind of comfortably pick Sub-Zero here. The idea of Jack Williams coming through to save the day is not happening. He's not even on the roster. So like, I just don't see it. Madman, the talent's not there. I just think Sub is the most talented team by kind of a distance.
Yep, I'm in the same boat.
If Mallard makes
That's
nationals,
the subscribers have Mallard a lot closer to Sub. It's 52 to 45 at last count. So.
But Mallard's like a meme, right? It's like they haven't really backed it up with anything.
Don't let your memes be dreams, Charlie.
All right, let's go to the mixed division. One bid region. Dragon Thrust is your bid earner. They're number 9 in the country. Noise, once upon a time, a semis team at nationals, but down at 24, just not the same team. And there's really nobody else in this region that's even going to be within striking distance of Dragon. I have a hard time seeing Dragon losing a game or even winning a game by fewer than like 3 or 4 goals at this tournament. I think this is a formality for Dragon.
Totally agree. I think Dragon's a title contender, and Noise is not at that level. So hard for me to see an upset here.
All right, let's keep it moving then. We go to the women's side, and North Central has just the one bid. It's for Pop. They got the auto bid down at 20th. Heist is sitting at 24, Wicked at 31. Is there a chance that we don't see Pop qualify, Keith? Could Heist take him out?
I can't believe you're not going to make some sort of Heist pun there. For stealing the bid. Not an impressive. not an impressive season for Pop. So you're not exactly like covered in glory for this team, but yeah, there's not really a ton of reason to get behind either of these other challengers either. Um, I certainly don't feel so confident about Pop that it's like they're a lock to win this, but I have no reason to pick against them. So I kind of begrudgingly will take them.
Yeah, they haven't played this season. What's Heist's best win? Over Ozone at ESC, I think.
Siege, maybe Siege 13-7.
I don't know what to think. I feel like Pop just gets to coast because no one's putting any pressure on them to be better in this region. Man, I badly want to pick Heist. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Please do it. Be a fun call.
Could we see, Aaron Schroeder and company get the job done? When's the last time Heist beat Pop in a meaningful game? It was like when Robin Fennig was on the roster, right?
Probably.
I don't know if I buy it, Keith. I don't know if I buy it. I'm sorry. I got to pick Pop. I know it's boring, but I got to pick Pop.
See, you're in the same spot as me. Just begrudgingly taking the top team here.
Yeah, got to do it. Okay, we move on. We go to the Southeast. Some interesting stuff going on here. We begin in the men's side where we have 3 bids. Chain, Ring, and RDU earning bids for the Southeast. And we do have a schedule for the Southeast men's. The problem is RDU earned their bid in large part thanks to really incredible play from Alan Laviolette and Tobias Brooks, and neither of those guys is on the series roster for RDU. So what does that mean for this region? Keith, do you think, we could talk about the top end whenever you want, but I think the real question for me is, can Florida Untied or one of these other contender teams take out RDU and get that 3rd bid?
That is the question. And Untied's had kind of an uneven year. They played really well at SFI East. They didn't play particularly as well at PEC East, obviously a much tougher level of competition, but they got pretty roundly beaten by a bunch of those teams. And they were okay at LVI. They seem like they're right around the borderline, and it's unclear to me how close this RDU team should be considered to that borderline. We've only seen them in 2 events. So in half of those events, they had Alan and Toby. They did not have a great PEC East where they lost to GOAT and got crushed by Dig and Phoenix. These are not great results. But do you go back to what we do know about this RDU team, which is that they have been good enough in years past? Can you get behind somebody like Alliance and see a potential upset there for the Alabama team? Not a lot of names that I know from this roster, a couple, but this is a bit like the Pop situation. I think I'm going to take RDU, even if I don't feel super convinced by them, just because I don't see much from Untied or Alliance to feel like I'm optimistic about their chances of being that team.
Florida's taking a bid, Keith. They're going back to nationals. I just think that they can outcompete RDU, whose offense was heavily reliant on those guys that won't be with them. And Florida's got some big dudes. They're going to throw up jump balls. And I think that they should actually be considered the favorite to take this bid. And I've got them going through. I have Ring past Chain. I know Chain's got the 1 seed. I think Ring's been the more convincingly top team in the region this year. And so give me Ring, give me Chain, and give me Florida.
These subs are with you. They've got Ring, Chain, Florida in that order. I think that's popular to hate on RDU because of the pickups. But I think they'll prove that they have some pieces necessary. Ultimately, and I've got Ring over Chain. I was convinced by what we saw at Pro Champs from this Ring team.
You know what I'm hearing? No observers, no rules at Southeast Regionals this year.
Jesus.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Even the observers won't go down there because they might get fouled. You might get.
I scared Keith badly right there.
Scarred me.
All right, let's move on. Mixed division. Maybe some volatility here in mixed. Couple of bits. I'm just pulling up my Southeast notes here. Toro, of course, the top ranked team in the region. Shine and Space Force also getting the second and third bids. And those teams definitely look like the best three pretty convincingly. Conspiracy, Asheville Parliament, which is a roster you never know what you're going to see from them. Brunch Club, the next three teams are all in the 30s, along with Roma Ultima. So what do you think, Keith? Is this just who's going to win, and what's the order of those top three, or do you think somebody could actually pull off something interesting?
I've seen too many Southeast mixed upsets to feel super confident about anything. How many times have we seen like Storm or what was the Florida team, the G Unit,
and even with good teams,
nowhere,
good teams getting beaten randomly. I mean, Toro doesn't exactly have a sterling reputation at regionals.
No, and this Parliament team just stinks of being some sort of upset squad. They maybe not even taking the bid. Maybe they knock off Toro and then don't even take the bid, and somebody else is there to scoop up the fumble. But it's so hard to pick Parliament when there's 40 people and you don't know which ones are going to be there.
Whole team in for regionals. I don't know, Keith.
Yeah, they are a true joker in the deck. I feel like coming into this tournament where Chaos is already kind of on the menu. So I find this group confounding. Flytrap is still around. The Brunch Club is kind of the old dogs team with a bunch of names of players who could potentially still be playing Elite Prime Club and are but also are Masters eligible. This is a very tricky region, and I think could be one of the most unpredictable of all of them.
I think I'm going to just go straight chalk though, Keith. I think it's going to be Toro Shine Space Force. I mean, listen, if Parliament brings the whole team, their whole series roster, they're actually there. David Barzazzi is there. Anything's possible with that team then.
I think I'm going to take Toro Shine Space Force, which is also where the subscribers are at.
That's what I just said.
I'm spinning the wheel with Parliament. No, you had Space Force Shine. You have them in chalk order. We're taking Shine over Space Force. I think Toro might be legit. I'm going to decide this is the year for Toro to actually be legit.
If that's true, I rescind. I want Shine and then Space Force. To be clear, I want Toro Shine Space Force. In the rankings, that's what they are. I don't know about the seedings.
We're all on that. We're all in the same space then.
Yeah. Okay. Women's Southeast. Look, with a second bid, this would be fun, but they don't have a second bid, and so Phoenix is going to kill everybody. Ozone is 23rd in the rankings. Phoenix is 5th. Look, this is just kind of it's like a practice weekend for Raleigh Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm not sure how fun this is going to be with one bid or two. It might be even more teams laying down for Phoenix if they had two. I mean, I've struggled to really come up with teams that I even feel like have upset potential or are nationals level at this tournament besides Phoenix. Phoenix in a walk.
Okay, Allison Bashford, player for Parliament, in the chat. Let's hold up. Erickson, Brown, Lanier, and all Swiss Natties folks are coming to regionals. Allison, does that include Barzazzi? I have no idea if he's considered a Swiss Natty. guy? Does he play for a Swiss team too? We will wait for the answer from Allison. They're going to be a live dog, that's for sure. Space Force did not look very convincing to me at Pro Champs, Keith. I think they could
The rumor
absolutely
was
lose
that
a Parliament.
Discord said they picked up Jack Gall from Machine.
Oh, I did hear that. That's a nice pickup. Yes, says Allison in the chat. There's a little bit of a lag between us and the chat.
Spicy.
Wow. Wow. I mean, do I want to change my pick? Oh. You know what? Let's do it. I'm taking Parliament for the third bid to beat Space Force and go to Nationals.
I love that.
It's like a pickup team. I mean, it's ridiculous. I have no idea what they could get killed, but I'm going to roll with the talent here.
I think Space Force is good enough to
They're
press
good.
their chemistry advantage.
They're good.
So I'm sticking with it.
Okay, fair enough. I'm doing it. All right. Anything else to say? Phoenix Ozone?
No.
Ozone's getting better, but I don't think they're enough better. Phoenix too good.
I would love an Ozone resurgence. I'm ready for it.
2 more regions. First up, Southwest. We begin in the men's division. 2 bids. Revolver Condors. Hard to see anything but that being the finishing order at the top of this region, Keith.
Yeah, is there some sort of case to be made? Oat. I mean, maybe that'd be cool to see Oat and Goat in a pool at Nationals, but like, yeah, they have an okay record, but nothing here says, oh, we're about to break through. So yeah, I'll take the chalk, and in that order.
Yeah, I mean, Revolver has been incredible. There's no way they're losing to Condors. The next highest ranked team is Nighthawk at 51, and Condors is at 15. This is a done deal. It's a done deal. Okay. We move on to the mixed division. Okay, this is as crazy as it gets. All right, this is as crazy as it gets. You've got number 2 ranked Mischief and number 12 ranked California Burrito earning bids. However, Burrito has not exactly been like a world beater, and in fact, lost to Lotus at sectionals. So then you've got Tower, who coughed up their bid by playing shorthanded at ESC with no Robin Fennick. And then you've got Lit Ultimate, Polar Bears, Lotus, and Lawless, all as like genuinely credible contenders. So you tell me, Keith, what the heck is happening in the Southwest? Who's coming out of this thing with a bid?
Oh man, what a great crop, right? And I mean, this would be intriguing with 3 bids, maybe even 4 bids. You could still get intrigue at this tournament. What do we make? What do you make of Mischief? Like, I feel like people are a little mixed on this team. They were the number 2 team ranked in the USAU rankings, but they had that weird loss to Burrito, right? Like, they lost handily. I think the Mischief is actually quite good, and that was a fluke game. That's where I'm landing on this Mischief team. So I'm going to take them as one of my 2 teams.
I am too. To be clear,
there's a lot of challengers, but like in a rock fight for a bid, I want to be on the side that has Robin Fennick. I'm going to be real with you. I want to be on the side that has Robin Fennick. Tower's got all the motivation to come out swinging. I do think that this is a really dangerous field. I really can like close my eyes and imagine like 4 or 5 other teams taking this slot at Nationals, but yeah, the only team that I feel safe with is Tower.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't know. Burrito could do it. Burrito could just lock up the bid that they earned for sure. But ultimately, I just think Tower is the second best team in this region, and that's not being reflected in the rankings because of playing shorthanded. And at full strength, we know that they've been a solid team in nationals. Like, this is not as good of a Tower team, though, as in the past, I don't think. That's where I hesitate. But at the end of the day, I'm taking Tower as well. I just think that they are the most talented next team. But it's going to be an incredible war. And we've seen crazier things. I mean, Mischief has choked bids in this region recently. They could choke again. Mischief could miss a bid. It's so possible. Like stunning early upset, like it is completely possible. And they're playing in Arizona, as Harrison just points out in the chat, which means Lawless is playing close to home.
Yeah, I mean, Lawless is going to be what, like the 7th seed or something? Like, and they could feasibly win the bid. Like, this is maybe the number one region to watch.
All right, let's move on to the women's side.
I'll say, let me add that the subs are on Burrito and Mischief in that order.
In that order. Ooh, spicy. Okay. Women's
Burrito's
Fury
got the
flip side. That's true. Fury flip side Nightlock are your bid earners. Fury, of course, undefeated 18-0. That's not changing this weekend. Flip side hasn't looked like quite the same team, but they should still defend their number 2 spot, I think. And look, who else is going to get involved here? Like, LOL is the next highest ranked team, and they got destroyed by Nightlock at sectionals. 15-6. So it's chalk for me, Keith.
Yeah, I think I got to go there too. I mean, I feel like Nightlock is probably the least discussed strength bid earner. So just looking at what their resume has, all of their losses, with an addition of a loss to Flight at ESC, are coming against Riot, Schwa. That's all their other 4 losses, but they don't really have any really nice wins either. They beat Pop, they beat Nemesis, they beat Grit. That win against LOL is really their best win of the year. That said, it's just hard to really get motivated to pick LOL or Wildfire to upset them. So I will also be taking the chalk and in that order.
All right, we finally move on to the South Central. We begin in the men's division. It's just a 1-bid region this year. It's been a while since it's only been a 1-bid region, but Double Wide not having a great regular season. They will be the clear and obvious and maybe only contender for taking out Bravo, who's had an up and down season, kind of a weird year, missing players a lot. They are ranked 11th, Double Wide ranked 26th. But Double Wide's a live dog, Keith. They always show up for regionals. They always play well here. We've seen them upset Bravo, including some amazingly talented Bravo teams in the past. Did Bravo lose to Double Wide the year they won nationals at regionals? I can't remember now. But in that run where Bravo was super talented, Double Wide shock upset them. Could it happen again? What do you think?
I think this Bravo team actually played pretty well at Pro Champs considering the rosters. I do feel like it's easy to think that the fluctuations we've seen from them are indicative of a team that has a bit more flaws and maybe won't have a chance to lock in the way you expect. Plus what we've seen in the history here, I still expect this game to be suspiciously close, but I do think what Bravo showed at Pro Champs was enough to convince me that they should really be considered the winner here, and I'll take them.
Thank you, chat, for letting me know that indeed Double Wide upset Bravo the year that Bravo went on to win the national championships. This is it's a great spot to call the upset, I think you look at the history, you look at the roster that Double Wide will have, they're a decent team. But then you look at their resume from the season, I guess the question is, were they weak during the regular season, and like, are they going to have a better roster now for the series than they did earlier in the year? I just don't think I quite see. I don't know. It's really hard. I think Bravo's more talented, and I think they're going to win the bid. Backs against the wall, but I will not be shocked if Double Wide gets the upset. Put it that way.
Is if when these two teams play, is Kyle Henke the best player on the field?
No, I think Quinn Finer's the best player.
Fair. Or you get Grant Lindsley's also on Bravo. He's easy to forget, but yeah, interesting to think about. I expect this game to be closer than their rankings might suggest, than the way people regard these two teams.
Jake Reinhardt says, don't sleep on Gamble, number 44 out of San Marcos, Texas. Yeah, I mean, they got some dudes. They won South Texas men's sectionals.
Apparently is actually on.
Correct. The Tyler Reinhardt, Jake Reinhardt, who's in the chat, Henry Charbonneau, who's in the chat. Yeah, you know, they're not going to beat Bravo, but maybe they could get top select. That'd be cool. I guess they'd have to beat Bravo or Double Wide to make that happen. I don't see it.
Jake, hit us with a bet here. If you hit us with a bet for how Gamble's going to do. I'm feeling froggy, so let me know while we continue on, and we'll see if we can come up with an interesting bet for how this Gamble team will do at regionals.
You're going to gamble, Keith?
Gamble with Gamble? Yes, I'm inspired.
All right, let's move on to the mixed division. And Disco Club is the top team in the South Central in the rankings. Actually, I take it back. I forgot. Shame ends up ahead of them. Shame number 1, Disco Club, same at number 6 in the rankings. Disco Club at 7, Mile High Trash at 11, and then there's really nobody else. So the question is really, who's winning this thing, Keith?
That is the question. It's a tough call. I mean, this might be the toughest head-to-head to win the region that you're going to find. I think both these teams are quite good when they play well, but have not necessarily been the most consistent units out there. I think ultimately I'm going to lean with Shame here to be the stronger side, but I mean, this feels like a coin flip between these two.
Give me Disco Club. They've been the best team. I know they're ranked a little lower, but they have the head-to-head over Shame. I've been much more impressed with what Disco Club's been able to put together this season than what Shame has.
All right, I'll bite on. I'll bite. I'll take Shame. You know what, Charlie? I'm gonna take Mile High Trash to finish above Disco Club.
Wow.
There's my spicy pick here.
I feel like you've got a vendetta against Disco Club. You've been a hater since day one.
If I have, it's purely by accident, not an intentional trend.
I mean, I don't know. I look at what Disco Club has done, and like, they lost a rally at ESC, but otherwise won all their games. They barely lost a hybrid at US Open. They beat Dragon. They beat Shame. They beat Slow. Like, I just think they're legitimately really good. So anyway, I'm going Disco Club, Shame, Trash.
You know, MHT, they beat Disco Club heads up at PEC East. They also beat AMP this year. Shine. They beat AMP twice. They're not pushovers. You know, Fiona Cashin and Felix Pronove, Ari Nelson's been crushing for them this year. They're going to be like probably one of the strongest offensive players you're going to find. I think MHT is kind of legit. So I'm taking them to upset Disco Club and give us a little surprise.
All right, let's move on to the women's side. Molly Brown is your bid earner. They're at number 9. They have looked a little susceptible this season. Could this Colorado Kelp team stun Molly Brown and take the lone bid to nationals? That really is the question in the South Central.
Wasn't there somebody in the Discord like basically saying this should be a coin flip way back in like the beginning of the season? Like, watch out for Kelp. This may be the year they upset Molly Brown. It's like, come on. As Molly Brown fallen that far, I know people are counting them out right about now, and Kelp was probably better than I expected this season, but I still feel like there's more than one tier gap between these two teams.
And I don't want to discount Dallas Dimes, who have not lost a game this year. They are 21-0. That said, they haven't exactly played a tough schedule. So I'm not gonna over index on the undefeated nature, but they are undefeated. So let's give them some credit where it's due.
Hey, win the games in front of you. You hope you get better games in front of you. But nicely done. We'll see if they can keep it up. Maybe now them beating Kelp, like maybe that's on the table. There's some extra intrigue for you.
Do you dare pick Kelp, Keith?
No, I don't. Sorry, Kelp.
Me neither. Sorry, Kelp. They played at US Open 15-11 to Molly when Molly was playing really bad and missing players. It's just not happening. It's just not happening. But Molly's got to show up. They can't just, send the skeleton crew like they did that one year against Texas and have to like bring in the big guns at halftime because they were losing.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. A second bid would have made this region more interesting, but Molly will advance. And that brings us to the end of our regionals picks. So where do we differ? A few spots. Let's see.
Northeast men's, you have Blueprint, I have Mephisto.
Yep.
You have in Southeast men's, you have Florida Untied, and I have RDU.
Then in women's, I took Starling in the Northeast.
Mm-hmm.
And otherwise, I think we're all on the same page there. And then we have different orders in Northeast mixed. I went with Exist to win the region. You have Slow. I have Disco Club winning the South Central. You have Shame. And then I made a last minute change. I'm taking Asheville Parliament in the Southeast mixed over Space Force. And that's where we differ. Not too many different picks, but there they are.
Yeah, not a huge surprise that there's only a few points of differentiation, but it just means that getting the right picks there matters even more.
All right, Keith. Over under 0.5 teams qualifying for nationals that neither of us picked.
I'm gonna go over. I think we'll get one.
Okay. Do you want to speculate as to who it would be?
The team we don't see coming. Phoenix in Northeast men's. Any of the, since we picked Chalk in Southwest mixed, that's probably. I feel like Southwest mixed where we pick the Chalk.
Yeah, that's a good call. We could get two teams wrong in that region.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get to our mailbag question of the week. What do we got, Keith?
I'm still trying to think what I want to make some stakes with Jake here for this gamble beating double wide. double wide bet. We'll see what we can get for there. All right. So for this week's, this is actually a pretty simple question from Lubes in the Discord. Who's the best player alive?
Okay. Are we doing it by division?
Or gender match,
Or
maybe?
just men and women?
Yeah.
Right now, the best male player is Don Desmarais. But I think Joe White could be that guy if he gets back fully healthy, because I think he was that guy 1 year ago before the injury. I'll let you answer. Do you agree with that, or do you have somebody else in mind?
I think I want to see him do it at Club Nationals before I like fully go in. Before I give such a prestigious title.
So who are you going to name then?
I mean, I know I was hating on him at the World Games, but I feel like Rafi Hayes is the best like combination of talent and resume. So I guess right now I'll take Rafi Hayes, but like I feel like we had this conversation a while back, and it was like there are like 5 or 6 people who feels like you could legitimately make a case for it.
I mean, Jeff Babbitt is still in that conversation. Toby DeCrana is in that conversation right now for me.
Christian Boxley, is Henry Ing pushing into that space in your mind?
Yes, sure, absolutely. I mean, the thing is though, for me, Don has showed the ability to win matchups against pretty much anybody. And he has played well in big spots. Now, I know he hasn't really done it at Club Nationals, but that's not his fault, isn't it? Is this his first year playing club in the US? I think it is.
Yes.
So, I mean, I get your point, but I just think like from what we've seen in the calendar year of 2025, he has been the best. He has been the best. Rafi is a good answer though. He's really solid. Dom says Jack Williams is alive, by the way. Listen, the answer to this question was Jack Williams for 2 or 3 years, but he's not there anymore. He's not at that level anymore. Still really good, but he's not number 1 in the world anymore. Let's see. Brody Brotman says player does not have to be playing anymore, right? Just alive. Brody Smith. It's a fair point, Brody, but I don't think there's any non-player that I would put above any of the top guys in active club right now.
Yeah, chat's mentioning that Don did play with Machine last year, and he
that's right. That's right.
He got ejected.
He got the double yellows, right? Yeah.
Yes.
But he's been playing on another level this year. Absolutely.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely taking a step forward.
And that's impressive because he was already the best player in Europe like 2 years ago. Although DeCrana is making a push for that, being ahead of him. Okay, women's side. Keith, I'll let you go first this time.
Man, what a weird time for this to be happening right after the World Games, where it feels like the obvious answers maybe didn't play as well as we've seen. But I think I got to take Claire Trope, especially healthy and just a remarkable do-it-all player. So I think I got to take Claire Trope as my number 1. Somebody Dom just said Miranda Roth Knowles in the chat. That is my goat though. I always will stand Miranda. She is the goat. But I think if you match her up with Claire Trope right now, it might not go away that I want to watch.
I I just I don't have anywhere else to go. I think the other candidate players are Manu Cardenas, which would be a fine answer. I think she is unbelievable. I think she's a better defender than Claire, but is kind of like a less versatile all around player. And I don't know if there's anybody else up at that tier right now. Like Valeria for me used to be there, but she's had a down year.
I guess you forgot that Nora Luloff is still out there. You know?
Will you chill? You're bringing up something that people don't even have the context for that. Okay, so Keith and I have been debating. Now we have to talk about it because otherwise people are going to be like, "What the hell?" You got to
save it for the. You got to save it for the future episode.
No, you brought it up, and now I'm going to fight you about it right now. Keith is mad because people are putting Nora Luloff, the breakout, rookie for Seattle Riot, who's had a great club season. People are mad that people are putting her in their top 25 ballots for our club top 25 players. I have not officially finalized my ballot, but Luloff will definitely have a chance to make the back end of my ballot. And what is your claim? What is your claim, Keith? I want you to do. I people watch the tape. People say her play. She is fantastic. But you have to at least say why you're hating right now.
Just not proven enough. Played really well in some bright light spots and came up with some nice goals. Obviously is athletic. I think is a really talented player. He's going to have a great future. Not there yet. Keith, you got to do a lot more.
The players do something at club nationals that impresses him. Otherwise, he writes you off, despite the fact that we're supposed to rank the players based on what they've done this season. Absurd.
No, you're supposed to. This is an exercise. The top 25 rankings. The prompt is who would help you win a championship this year. That does not mean you exclude all prior evidence. That's the club awards where we do that. That is not what happens in this exercise. So I'm going to take the proven commodities who I feel like are going to contribute to winning a championship now, because Dorluloff is like 17 or 18 years old and has a lot of time to become one of those players.
She's cooking people out there. Speed kills, Keith. She's going to be the number 1 high school player in the country this year. It's not outlandish based on what we've seen in this year.
How many years
you can put her in your ballot?
In how many years do you think the best high school player in the country is one of the 25 best elite club players? How often do you think that's the case?
Not often, which is what makes her extremely impressive. I mean, but Hakimi was borderline, right? I don't know.
Are you going to have Hakimi in your top 25?
Riot wasn't good enough. No, too many turnovers. But I think she's talent-wise potentially going to be.
She was the best high school player in the country for like 3 years.
I'm telling you that last year, it's possible she was on the borderline edge, but Riot wasn't good enough for it for her to be in the conversation. Look, whatever. Well, we can talk about it more. You are biased against players who haven't won a chip. You out here telling me Dan Desmarais hasn't proven it yet.
He's a lot closer, but he also has 5 years on Nora Luloff to have done that and a lot more reps. So he's a lot closer, but I still kind of want to see more at the USAU club level for it. But yeah, those are not comparable analogs in my mind.
Oolong T points out Anna Thompson for best woman, and that's a good cause. She was really good at the World Games. She may have been the U.S.'s best female player.
I think a lock to be top 10 on that list. And so I definitely could see, having her in 5 and in contention for 1.
All right. That's going to do it for today's show. Do not miss our upcoming Regionals React show. We will be live with you in the Discord on Sunday afternoon. Timing TBD. We don't have all the schedules yet, but we'll probably go live sometime during the last round in the Southwest. So stay tuned in the Discord. Sign up for an Ulti World subscription and get into the Discord. Any level gets you in, and get ready to watch Regionals live this weekend from Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, and Southwest. And And then, hey, Club Nationals is a month away. More info coming soon about the live Nationals pool draw. We got to wait for the rankings, hopefully next week. Okay, so we'll keep you posted on the timing of that as well. For Keith Raynor, I'm Charlie Eisenhood saying so long, and we'll talk to you next week and on Sunday for subscribers right here on Deep Look.
I'm not the heater. I like Noah Luloff. Noah Luloff is awesome.
Yeah, you've made an enemy for life with Nora Luloff.